Those of you who don't know me, I'm Linda. I am Riley's aunt. And actually, Carla was sharing a funny quote. I'm just going to start with this while people are sitting down. So apparently, when I don't, Carla? So Riley was 2.5 or 3, which is a great age to not want to do what anybody asks you to do. And he was out on the trampoline in the back of my parents' yard, and it was time for him to go. And I was trying to get him off because we need to put his shoes on. And Carla, of course, listens to everything and writes it down, which is beautiful. And so apparently he said no. I said, "Come on, Ryan, time to go." And then he said no. And I said, "Well, who made you boss?" And he said, "God." So that was a good one. Okay. So what I want to do, I'm going to just take a couple minutes because I really want to make sure, obviously, everyone feels welcome, and also to go over some of the logistics of today. It is definitely our highest and most loving intention today to celebrate Riley and what they have meant to us and what they still mean to us in our lives. We've experienced profound loss. Today is a sacred and shared moment in each of our journeys. And today we want to celebrate, remember, and be prepared to take whatever the next step is for each of us in our journey through this grief. So there are a lot of people here, and thank you all for being here. We do want to make sure that everyone has a chance. We want to maximize people's ability to share and to engage today, to process our loss and celebrate and honor Riley. And also take care of ourselves, which is, as we know, Riley's tremendous kindness. They would always be very much concerned about how others were feeling during the process. So I just want to set that tone. And with that, want to say the restrooms are over there. There is an ADA accessible porta potty right here. If you need to obviously get up and leave, come back, please feel also to do however the Spirit moves you, to honor and celebrate and to take care of yourselves. Also, for those who really might need some space and comfort, there is a lodge kind of at the end of this walkway, and it is open, and there's a large living room area. There are couches. So if you just feel like you need to go be by yourself or in a quieter space, please know that that's available to you. So for the service itself, you can see we have 2 microphones, one right there, and 3, I guess, one right here, and one right there. And what we're going to be doing, the ceremony today is, I'm going to do this welcome. Zai is going to come up and really just create the tone of the sacredness of this space for us today. And then after that, Papa Bestefar is going to give a prayer. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. It's the other way around. When I'm done, Bestefar is going to give a prayer. Okay, I got the nod from Bestefar over there. Bestefar is going to give a prayer. Then Zai is going to come up and open up this sacred space. And then we're going to have 3 different sections of opportunity for each of you, for family and friends, to share. We're going to have some sharing. Then we'll have either a chant or a song or some kind of other activity. We'll go back to a time of sharing. Again, have a little bit of a break. Go back to a time of sharing. We'll have at the end a Kaddish, which is a Jewish tradition of honoring those who've passed. And you will know that this service is done when we sing "May the Longtime Sun Shine," which is, I'm sure many of you know, is a sacred song in our family. So that's how the service is going to flow today. With that, I want to make sure I got everything. I didn't miss anything, right? I think I got it all. Papa, you want to pray?
First, I want to thank you all for coming. It's such a pleasure to stand here and see this crowd honoring Riley. Thank you very much. Let us pray. God, our creator and sustainer, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here in celebration of the life of our beloved Riley Faye Nilsen. We pray, Lord, that you will sensitize us to your Spirit, which is clearly among us here in this congregation. May we, his family and friends, be able to express our deepest feelings in memory of Riley and celebrating joyfully his life as well as mourning his passing. May we sense your presence even in our sadness and sense of loss. Most of all, Lord, help us to celebrate Riley, who he was, and have the assurance that he is in your presence now and always. I pray this prayer of peace and joy in the name of he who gave his all that we should live. Amen.
Wow, yeah, there's so many. This is really lovely. Hi all, I am Xylem or Zai. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the sibling, one of the siblings of Riley Faye. So throughout the ceremony, we look forward to hearing about Riley Faye at different points throughout their life and from different perspectives. We want to invite you to use whatever names and pronouns when referring to them as you share. This is because in their journey of self-discovery, they used many names, such as Riley Faye, Riley or Faye, or Ryan, or Amalia, or Autumn, or Cameron or Alexander. And they had used various pronouns throughout their life: she, he, they, it, with the most recent request to try using plural pronouns such as them all and themselves. Most importantly, we give you this permission because Riley Faye shared recently with us that they were comfortable with any pronouns and names, and partly that was because they had gained the wisdom that they cannot control how others perceive them. Riley Faye was an expansive and multifaceted being. In fact, one of their self-discoveries in recent years was that they resonated with being a plural system, meaning that they saw themselves as being many different people, beings, and things within the same body. They always were such a highly sensitive, empathetic, and attuned person. They were quick to love and relate to others and felt deeply connected with everything. During these last years of their life, they were doing a lot of internal work to accept and love their expansiveness, and were making strides and stepping into who they authentically were and rejecting the way that society makes us feel like we have to fit into boxes of conformed identity. Regardless of when you may have known Riley Faye, one thing I'm certain we have all witnessed is the compassion, inclusivity, and acceptance that Riley Faye showed others. The values of community and love were guiding forces in Riley Faye's life. Riley was so good at listening to and being attuned to others' perspectives that they excelled at making others feel included. I'd like to honor Riley Faye by sharing with you all about Riley Faye's life and death from their perspective as best I can, so that you can better understand and respect the very human experience of struggle and growth that they went through. Likely, Riley Faye's death was incredibly jarring and scaring to a lot of people in their life, especially not really knowing what happened or contributed to their death. It is so very human to be afraid of the unknown and to also want to avoid things that make us uncomfortable. Growing up in a world where the threat of exclusion looms over those who are different, quote unquote, those that don't fit into those tiny boxes of quote unquote acceptability, Riley Faye grew up learning to mask who they really were or how they felt for fear of not being accepted. When you grow up like this, we learn to mask so well that we become hidden even from ourselves, making it really hard to even know who we are or how we feel. Riley Faye also masked when they were struggling, even from themselves, because they so desperately wanted to be and do good, to be well, and to avoid the uncomfortable. This hiding of their struggles from most people is likely why their death may be really hard to understand based on the Riley that you knew and saw. The struggles that they went through, especially in these last several years, could be described as an identity, philosophical, and spiritual crisis. They graduated college in December of 2019 and were trying to figure out what to do with their life. This emerging adulthood stage is often a very hard time in anyone's life, and then COVID hit. The social isolation and societal turmoil were especially hard for them. They were grappling with questions of who they were, who they wanted to be, how could they contribute to their world, how to build healthy relationships with others and move through conflict and harm with accountability. They also were very committed to social justice, and they deeply felt the suffering of others. They were trying to figure out what it meant to have privilege while others do not. How to work through the guilt of having privilege. What is right and wrong? What is good and bad? How do we collectively survive and thrive in this world of many crises, including the pandemic, climate change, and rising fascism? During the spiritual crisis, they experienced altered states, where they would hear things and see things that others couldn't. They also believed their thoughts were able to be broadcasted to others' minds and vice versa. These altered states were not always scary or hard. In fact, this expanded reality was affirming to them in many ways, in that they felt the interconnectedness of everything in such a richer way. These altered states weren't always scary or hard for those of us who knew about them, and in some ways we could relate, such as feeling strongly connected to birds. In fact, in our grieving, Riley's Faye's deepened spiritual understanding of the world has been a blessing to the family, as we feel their spirit in the birds and the nature around us, even though their mortal body is dead. These altered states, though, could be very scary and disorienting. Riley Faye had always been very sensitive to the stimulus in their environment and would be easily distracted or engrossed in their own thoughts. And so these aspects of themselves became intensified in their altered state. Even before their crises, they had a hard time operating in our capitalistic society that is not accommodating to neurodivergent people. And it became even harder to force the brain to be able to focus on one thing at a time, or to stay organized, or where they last placed their keys or their phone, or keep track of their basic needs. Their brain was constantly racing with so many thoughts and stimuli all at once coming from every direction. They also became to understand their altered states as part of who they were, and felt like trying to suppress these parts of themselves was once again being shoved into those tiny boxes. In an attempt to feel better and to be able to function more in our world, they experimented with non-prescription drugs. Also, like many of us, they use drugs to have fun and to escape harsh realities. Qualities that we loved about Riley, such as being adventurous and wanting to say yes to everything and going all in, also played a part in them using drugs with wild abandon. While not everyone who uses drugs for fun develops a disease of addiction, it is clear now that Riley suffered from addiction, meaning that they had a hard time having perspective on how their drug use was negatively impacting their life and their relationships. Even when they wanted to stop or use less, the disease of addiction and the withdrawal from the drugs made it really hard to do so. As a family, we didn't really know the extent of their drug use, which is partly because it was also hard for us to acknowledge they were struggling with addiction. What we didn't realize was that they had been using meth several years off and on, likely because they were seeking to feel better, and they found it to be helpful to be able to focus on one thing in the midst of having so much stimulus and thoughts going on in their mind. In the last several months leading up to their death, they were using meth very frequently, amongst attempts to engage in recovery services that were not successful at the time. While we don't know exactly how they died, as we're still waiting on the autopsy and toxicology results, it seems pretty clear that it was due to complications with their addiction. Either their body was worn down from chronic meth overdose or overamping, or potentially from acute overdose. We believe that they died accidentally, as there were no signs of suicide, and they were engaging in life-affirming behaviors and planning hangouts with family and friends. They also usually would reach out for support when they started to get nervous about the suicidal thoughts they were having. With the stigma that our society has about addiction and mental health, it can be easy to think that it was their individual choices that led to their death. What I hope I highlighted is that they were doing the best that they could to strive for self-acceptance and healing and wellness, and their individual choices and struggles can only be understood in the context and the world and the systems we live in. They weren't bad for using drugs. They weren't bad for using meth. They weren't bad for experiencing addiction. They weren't bad for having a hard time being truthful with themselves or others about their struggles. They were very human. Thank you for holding space for them to be seen in all of their complexities and to shed light on the journey they went through in these past several years, so you can see them as the perfectly imperfect human that they are, just as we all are perfectly imperfect. To close, I want to share a piece of wisdom that Riley Faye learned and that I find really helpful. I don't have to believe every thought that I have. I love you all so much, Riley Faye, and those in your plural system. And now, next we'll have Mama Carla share and lead us in some songs.
Yes, I just want to say that this is all quite overwhelming, and seeing you here is overwhelming in a good way, in a very good way. It's awesome to see how many people loved Riley and to know you all support us. Riley really loved making new friends, and he believed in connections. When Riley was 7, he told me that all of the kids in his class were his friends. And I remember when he was in early elementary school that it seemed like he knew every kid's name at Stevenson. A song that I keep thinking of as a camp favorite. You knew when you came here you would have a chance to sing, right? Good, okay. So I'd like to ask my sister Brenda and my brother Steve and Roger to come help me lead Make New Friends. The words are on the back of your bulletin if you'd like to sing along. So of course we'll sing it a couple times and then we'll do it as a round. Right, Sean? All right, come on up. Make new friends by keeping old. One is silver and the other's gold. A circle is round, it has no end. That's how long I want to be your friend. You start over there. Make new friends, but make new friends. One is silver and the other is gold. One is silver and the other is gold. A circle of I want to be your friend. That's how friends but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold. A star is silver and the other is I want to be your friend. That's how long I want to be your friend. Yay! Yeah, any song that we're doing and you hear any little funny harmonies going on, or you want to add a funny harmony or silly noises, you got to do it, because Riley loved doing that stuff. One thing my mom did when my siblings and I were little was to write down some of the things we'd say. And as Linda alluded to, I kept up that tradition and want to share a few with you. Recently, one of Riley's good friends asked me what Riley's favorite number was. I told him I wasn't sure, but I was going to guess infinity, because Riley had so much love to give. But however, as I was reading the things I wrote in Riley's notebook, I think I found the answer. When Riley was 5, as the kids were getting ready for bed, Bryn asked Riley, "So what's your lucky number?" Riley paused, yawned, and then said, "Probably 304. Bryn said, "304 can't be your lucky number. It has to be 20 or below." That's what you said. Now, Bryn said his lucky number is 13 or 14. I never heard Riley's final choice. As you can see in your bulletin, maybe Googleplex was Riley's favorite number. He said he loved everyone Googleplex, except God, who he loved Googleplex plus 1. So Jagan, Riley's favorite number is either infinity, 304, or Googleplex. You take your pick. When Riley was 3, I was lying in bed with him to try to get him to sleep. That was his favorite method. I told him several times to lie still. He continued to wiggle, so I firmly said, "You must lie completely still. Don't move at all." A few seconds later, after he'd been quiet, he whispered, "But I have to breathe, Mama." Do you remember the children's book Madeline in 2 Straight Lines? Ryan was 3.5, and he said, "If Madeline was real, then I would love her. I'm not going to marry her, just love her and give her hugs and say hi." Another song that Riley taught us talks about breath and love and peace. So we'll sing "Breathe In, Breathe Out." And I have some people that are going to help. I think Annika and Sophia say they'd help, and Eric, are you helping? And Erica, and whoever wants to help me lead it, come on up. We need more than one on our part in case one of us,
I can do the easy part.
Yes, you can do the easy part.
If you want an easy part, sing with me.
Okay, we'll learn 2 of the parts, and then we'll break up into 3 parts. Okay, first part is breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. One more time, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Very good. Next part goes, when I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Good, you got it. All right. Start with Eric if you want the breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, When Ryan was 4.5, he gave me a big hug and said, "You're the best mama I ever loved." After we laughed, he noted, "You're my only mama." I also wrote letters to our kids on their birthdays. I was rereading Riley's, and when he was 4 and 6 and 7, I noticed I practically wrote the same thing each year. I wrote, "You always say, 'I love you, Mama,' several times a day." I wrote that I hoped he'd keep that up. And I want to tell you that Riley kept it up. You know, Eric. Thanks a lot. And, even the last month or two of his life, almost every night, we'd say goodnight, and he'd say, "I love you. I love you, Mama. I love you too, Riley."
So we're going to start. Well, first of all, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Zai, for that really important context. We're going to start the open sharing. Again, we've got 2 mics. The very first person who's going to share is Jermaine. So, Jermaine, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Riley was my partner for almost a year, longest relationship I ever had, and it was a great one. Being the Aries that I am, I know it all. I've learned all that there is to learn. And then I met Riley, and then I just started learning so much more, more on top of what I thought I knew. Going through life, ensuring that I see myself in other people at all times. Meeting Riley, having them show to me that it's more than just people. Being able to connect not just with living creatures, but with the rocks and the sand and the sound of raindrops falling before they land and hit the ground. Stuff like that. The motion of an apple being thrown, being able to see yourself in that, and the torn shoe, and the broken glass and stuff like that. Being able to connect with everything that this entire universe, the galaxy has to offer, even things that we can't perceive orally, things we can't even see, things that exist but just on different frequencies. What I had with Ryan, what we shared, it was something so intimate and pure, and just being able to spend so much time with them. And then there's 3 things that we almost always did. We were for sure going to eat. Riley is one of the best foodie friends to have. It's fun. There's one of these pictures that we have together, and it was during a time where I was really trying to fatten Riley up. And you can see their little belly protruding just slightly. It's a proud moment for me. So we're either gonna eat or we're gonna watch a movie or watch some shows, things like Steven Universe or Sense8 or stuff like that. Or we're taking a nap. That was our most favorite thing to do, was to eat, sleep, and watch TV. Because it was peaceful. Being affected by your surroundings so intensely for the both of us. Me learning about things like that in myself. But my experience with Riley, seeing just how rapidly and how often they were struggling within themselves, within their own mental capacity, was very heartbreaking to see. Um, Day by day, hour by hour, there was such a huge change. But the one thing that never did change was their love for literally everything in the world. And, it's a blessing and a curse because you love even the bad things, the poop on the ground, the stinky farts. Riley loved everything. So one thing I hope that, they achieved was some sort of peace. We were talking about peace in the song earlier. And so I want to sing a few songs for you today. I was going to sing a song, and for the other two songs, I'm going to have my best friend Gabby come and help me out. So I'm going to get hooked up here. This first song, about these songs. This first song is called Peace and Serenity. I'll just sing it for you. Hold up, wait a minute, deep into the ground, being amongst the seas and hell surely drowned. But I've seen a dream that's not so far away. I'll make the change and I'm starting today. So I wipe my eyes, stand on my look to the skies and to the Lord. My heart speaks that I'm giving up. Feels like I'm dying. Stood fast to faith and keep on trying. You're giving me the world. I'll turn it into something that I love. How did I come to be at these crossroads, searching for peace and serenity? Peace and serenity. I'm searching for peace and serenity. Peace and serenity. I see the clouds from miles away. The winds are strong, but let it be no mistake. I'm not giving up, 'cause you're not giving up on me. I'm not so far away, yet so still lives to you. Look to the skies and cry, you almost had me beat. But I'm never giving up, 'cause you're not giving up, no. Always a part of me and willing to depart from me. I'll make the change, and now I'm coming clean. Giving me the world, turn it into something that I know. How did I come to be at these crossroads, dear? I'm taking back my life to become a person I can stand, making up a better plan to succumb to who I Peace and serenity, peace and serenity, peace and serenity, peace and serenity, peace and serenity. Peace and serenity. I'm searching for peace and serenity. Peace and serenity. Thank you, thank you. This next song is called "Winter's Cold," and I wrote this song a while ago. It was when I was going through depression and just starting college myself, and just really struggling. I needed some blessings aside from all the bad stuff that I was experiencing, all the trauma that I was experiencing, all the mental battles that I was experiencing. I needed something, just some type of blessings to rain down upon me. And it seemed like during my roughest time, I felt so alone. And I always felt like it was during the winter time, you know what I mean? So easy to feel so isolated and alone during the cold months, you know? But this song, I finally got it recorded, and I was producing this album, and Riley was one of the first people who wanted to perform with me live and wanted to be one of my backup singers along with my best friend Gabby. And so every week we would be rehearsing 16 songs, and we're just doing this on a whim because as we're rehearsing for this album release party, I am at the same time recording and writing the songs. So we're gonna rehearse one week, and the next week it's gonna be a little different because, hey, I changed some things. But being able to sing with them on top of having weekly rehearsals, we'd have at-home karaoke, we'd go to karaoke, we'd be in the car singing together, listening to all kinds of different songs, and just experience that creativity and that level of intimacy. It was just a dream. So this one's called "Winter's Cold." It's okay. What's up with Last time we sang that song was we were actually doing a fundraiser. So that was a beautiful time. But I'm moving on. This one is sort of a lullaby for anyone of any age, and is to bring you more to a peaceful, less emotional state. This one is called Doubt and Dreams, and it is releasing all that pressure from all the bad thoughts, all the worries, but also releasing all the pressure from trying to chase your dreams, trying to be the best that you can be, trying to be the most positive and the strongest. Because we are more than just the bad things that happen to us, but we are also more than all the good things that happen to us. This one's Doubts and Dreams.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. I think one of the other things, as we've done a lot of reflecting as a family about Riley, is about, again, we've already been mentioned kind of this, it's already been mentioned the love of, love everything. And there are so many things to do, and that sometimes that can feel even a little chaotic. But out of that chaos comes a tremendous amount of creativity. And so I just want to really appreciate and honor that. Thank you, Jermaine, for sharing that and your gift. And I know that was something that was a connector for you and Riley. So again, want to open up, again, another breath. Okay. And then we'll open up, I'm literally going to be talking right into the mic now. We have 2 microphones. So would like to offer just a few minutes, and then we're going to take another little break, but we got opportunity for a few people to share. We do want you to speak your truth and speak your heart, and also be mindful of the fact there are a lot of people here who probably want to speak their truth in their mind. So please, whoever would like to step up to the microphone, I'll give you the finger. Oh, that doesn't sound good. It had to happen. Okay, Bryn, you come up here. Okay.
So short. Thank you. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Sorry. In 2015, I fled my family home and started school at Lewis and Clark. Eric was my advisor, and I immediately felt at home. He knew he was dealing with a lot more than just a kid coming to school, and was always there for me. And the first time that I came home from class to work in the lab, Riley was there. And they had this serious look on their face, which they always have when they're working. And then Eric goes, "This is my son, Riley." At the time, that's what they were going by, so my son, Ryan. And they turned to me, and automatically that serious look became, "Hello," just a big grin. And that was how they said hello to me every single time for the next 5 years. We were work partners and lab partners, and we even graduated in the same semester. We were both 1 semester late and got to spend that summer together. But I will always be grateful to Eric and Riley for giving me a family when I didn't have one. And Riley always was there for me, taking the weight off my shoulders. And I'll always have gratitude and love for Riley.
Hey everybody, I'm Bryn, Riley's brother, and I've been sharing a lot about Riley over the last couple months on my Instagram. I've been making videos and talking about a lot, so I'm not going to go too long here. But one of the early classic family memories of me is being at church, and I was hiding under the chairs. I think my best mama came up and asked me what I was doing, and I said I was hiding from all the love. Oh yeah, just turn that around. And so, what's that? So I was hiding under the chairs at church, and best mama asked me what I was doing, and I was hiding from all the love. I was so overwhelmed by all the people and everything. I just needed a little space. But Riley never hid from all the love. They were always connected to it all and always so caring for others, and like everyone has already said and will continue to say. And so just that connection and the love for everyone else is a big part of their life. And so during the early pandemic, I was working a night shift, and I was quarantining alone. I was pretty isolated. And for me, it was kind of a nice fresh breath of air in some ways. But definitely the isolation and lack of community sat with me a lot. And coming out of it, once I got vaccinated, I got these cameras, been taking pictures like crazy. And it's definitely been really great. I've been really grateful in the last few months since Riley died that I have all these pictures and all these videos and all these things that we've done with Riley, and I can go look through the videos, I can look through the pictures. And what I've been doing this week is I made this collage over here, and it's kind of hard to look at. Like, the pictures are really small, there are just so many, one thing that's been hard in the last couple months is I've been unraveling kind of the last few years of struggle, because my mind just instantly wants to go to the guilt and what could I have done better and all that stuff, those shouldas, wouldas, and couldas. And so it's been hard to remember a lot of the good memories. Even though there have been so many good memories and connections in the last years, it's really difficult. But in the process of putting this together, it was really hard this week because each tiny little picture just opens up a flood of memories and a flood of good times. I'm so grateful for my mama for all the scrapbooking and taking pictures that she did, and I'm glad that I've been able to kind of continue that on. And I just think it's kind of hard to look at, and I think that's good because there's just so much Riley, and they live such a beautiful and full life, and they're always finding connection even in their hardest times, and it's just something I've always loved about them and tried to embrace more. But I just have a quick little reading from this book called Doppelganger, which is by Naomi Klein, and she's kind of looking back over the last couple years, and I think she thinks in the same way that Riley did in a lot of ways. But as growing up, it was always Bryn and Ryan, and then I'm glad Bryn and Riley also had a nice fling to it, and Mama definitely still confused our names, and so that was good. And so I'll just leave you with this. It reminds me of something I read by the philosopher Helena de Bray, who has a twin sister. She expressed pity for those who suffer the most unimaginable misfortune of being born into this world alone. Yet we are not alone, at least as not as alone as it can feel. Most of us lack intimacy of twindom, sure, but connections and solidarities and kinships are available to all of us should we choose to guard the boundaries of ourselves less jealously. We have kin everywhere. Some of them look like us. A lot of them look nothing like us, and yet are still connected to us. Some aren't even human. Some are coral. Some are whales. And they are there to connect with if we can get out of our own way for long enough. And I think that really exemplifies Riley. Thank you.
A couple more people before we take a break.
I'm Avery, who's a former partner. Who's Riley's friend and former partner. I wrote them a letter. Dear Riley Faye, thank you for being a wonderful friend. You are so caring and loved by everyone you met. That was a talent of yours. I admire how much all your family time meant to y'all. I remember how you told me about your system on our first hangout. You were always open and honest about everyone in your system. I wish there had been more time to go on adventures together. Thank you for showing me your version of the world and all the lovely people in it. I love how creative y'all were with your words and thoughts and artistic ability, even if I couldn't always understand what y'all were saying. Thank you for being such a light and joy to be around. You would have loved all the paintings you did that are lovely reminders of you in our dining room. Even in our months apart, I never stopped thinking about or loving y'all. Thank you for the memories and being such a joyous part of our lives. To the Andromeda Galaxy and back, Avery.
I'm Elsie, also a former partner of Riley. Oh. I'm Elsie. I'm a friend of Riley's and also a former partner. I think about you all the time, Riley Faye said to me during one of our first dates. I shared that I think about Riley a lot too. It's difficult not to think of someone all the time who always seems to bring you back to the present moment. 3 days before Riley died, Riley messaged Avery and me. How was the beach? Thinking about y'all, smiley face. In each of these situations, for different reasons, I didn't know how to respond. Riley loved completely without reservation. Of course, I think about Riley all the time. I wish I knew how to rectify their pure, unfathomable love with the pain they endured, and only let show when it became too much. I know, intense pain too, and I loved when we found safe ways to escape through trips to the beach, mountains, and Riley sharing what the birds were saying. The conversations we had were always helpful. Despite our distance during the months before Riley died, they never left my heart. I will never understand the tragedy of their early physical death. I try to hold Riley in my memory as a prayer or meditation, a prayer to understand, make the world better, and be present. Riley Faye is a miracle we will never understand.
I guess anybody in family, close friend, because it seems like that we're kind of rounding that out. Might be a good time for us to take a little break, but I want to make sure there's no one else that wants to share now. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I really do have to talk like this. I was saying, so we're about ready. I'm thinking we're going to take a little bit of a break from the group sharing. I'm wondering if there's anyone else who considers themselves really close to Riley. We've had family and friends, and if there's someone that wants to share anything, please feel free to do that during this time, and if not, we will take a little break. Catherine.
I have music. I'll go, but is now a good time for more music?
Sure. Catherine's gonna. Grandma is right behind you. So, and then yes.
I have a picture of Ryan in my mind. He was about maybe 8, and the family had come home to Montana for Christmas. And he's singing with his cousins, Annie and Erica. And they were just at the age starting to learn to sing parts. And they sang an arrangement of Away in the Manger. And it had a descant, and their voices were so sweet and pure.
Thank you, Catherine. Lots of music. This is very appropriate, as we all know.
Is this one, can you hear me okay? In the back, thumbs? Tristan, where's your thumb? Okay, good, we're good. I don't know, how does... Huh? All right. So, man. Sure, yeah, that's nice. That was kind of you. Thank you. Riley was such a role model of how to love people better. And that was really inspirational to be around all the time. From a young age, gifted to just love people and see them as they were. One of the memories that lives rent-free in my head is Riley's musical soulmate, Mateo, sitting together on that giant bed. You guys have that huge bed. And they were singing You Are My Sunshine. I've added a few verses, but I'd love if we could all come together for the choruses.
Absolutely.
And bear with me. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine. down a school hallway. I ran into your giant head. But when you looked up, you simply smiled, and you took me by the hand. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. As we grew older, you grew courageous. You charged ahead with honesty, and in each misstep, you found the beauty, leading with you found the beauty, leading with love and curiosity. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. These past few years, love, I thought I'd lost you. I could not see you through the trees. But now I know that I was still learning from you to hold each soul in high esteem. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. What are you talking?
That was beautiful. Okay, Eric.
My mama Marge, this is her thingy dingy. What's that? Poncho. Used to say, heart room is a beautiful thing because there's always more room. And our hearts are full with your presence. If I could capture Riley's personality and gift in 2 words, which is hard for a professor used to talking in 90-minute chunks. Those words are playful harmony. Playful, represented by my Value Village River Otter t-shirt that Riley borrowed sometimes and Andrew borrowed almost all the time. That's such a playful spirit. Whenever we did the occasional silly thing, Riley was right up in the midst of it. Harmony, because of the beautiful, beautiful music he gave us and continues to give us. Beautiful richness involving dancing and connecting and movement and flow and delight. When we harmonize, it requires us to really listen to each other. And Riley was good at listening. And it requires us to adjust to what's happening and to figure out how to flow in. Riley was a deeply spiritual person. And in that spirituality, he had an inclusive and open heart. And he taught us so much music that we've shared. What we want to do now is, some of you know this song, but we want to teach you one of the songs that Riley brought back from Culture Jam, which we affectionately called Hippie Camp. That has probably been shared with more people than any other song. We sang it a couple times at a big youth retreat with a couple thousand people. And it really captures this spirituality and this love for bringing harmony to places where there's discord. And so I'd like to help teach you this song. It's on the back of your sheet. It's called the Contemplation Chant. And it contains, whoa, there we go, phrases from 5 different spiritual traditions. We'll do them by themselves first, and then I've got some people who are going to help me. I don't remember. Stand up if you're helping. And we'll sing it one part at a time, but then we're just going to kind of let it go and flow and start from Om Mani Padme Hum and add to it to build up and then come back down. So this first line comes from a mantra from Buddhism, and it goes something like this. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. You got it. And while we're doing the chant, I'm going to do that easy part. The next part, 2 words from 2 different religious traditions, but that both connote peace. Shalom, Shanti, Shalom, Shanti, Shalom, Shanti, Shalom, Shanti. The next part comes to us from Islam. From many branches of Islam, but especially in Sufi Islam, it was an important part of their ritual worship. And it goes like this. Al ilaha illallahu, al ilaha illallahu, al ilaha illallahu, al ilaha illallahu. And for many of you, this one might be a little more familiar. It's in Latin, and it comes from the Christian tradition, Gloria in excelsis Deo. And, oh, somebody else get us started this one. Gloria in excelsis Deo. So,
Just come down and we'll do parts.
yes. Should we do it by region?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Or no, whatever part you want to sing. I don't.
Chaos, let chaos reign. We're going to start with Om Mani Padme Hum. Everybody can do that if they want to. And then after a little bit, someone will start with Shalom Shanti. At least a few of you stick with me with Om Mani Padme. But some of you who feel it, join in with the Shalom Shanti. And then we'll layer on Il Ilaha La. That one? Il Allahu. And then finally, fourth, other one's going, we'll do Gloria in excelsis Deo, and then we'll take the parts off, one at a time. And we'll finish all together singing Om Mani Padme Hum. We did it with 1,000 people. We can do it with 150. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Thank you.
Okay, another breath. Sharing. Want to open time up? Again, if you want to speak, go to the microphone and I will acknowledge you respectfully. Just to be clear. Okay. Go ahead, sorry.
I was waiting for the respectful acknowledgement.
I'll make you wait awkwardly, actually.
Hello, everybody. I didn't know Riley well, except through his mom. And I am also a mom, and my child is the same age as Riley's cousin, Sophia. They're just merely days apart, and so Riley's just a few years older. And so I'm here to thank Riley for all the gifts that he gave his mom, and she in turn gave me as a mom. And I think all of you who are moms in here or parents know that feeling if you know this family. Like Riley, my child did not fit well in a box, and that was a little challenging for me. And it was also challenging for Riley's mom. But Riley's mom led with love and taught me also how to lead with love, and also how to show our parents how to lead with love. And that was such an amazing gift that we got from all of Carla and Eric's children. But today we are here because of Riley and his love. And you spoke of that picture and how challenging it is to look at, and I appreciate that. And all I see in that picture that you created was Riley's light, and I am so thankful that I was able to feel that light through the love of his mother and his father and his siblings and his aunt and his grandparents and his cousins. So Riley, though I only knew you fleetingly in person, I thank you so much for the very, very valuable gifts that you have given me.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay. Jeanette, I see you.
I see you too, Linda.
Go right ahead.
And I hope everyone sees that I wore yellow, because that is, Riley is just sunshine and love and light. And I am Jeanette. A lot of people call me Jane, or some people in the family honor me with Tanta Jane. I was honored to be the Nilsen's babysitter. And I started with babysitting with the family when Riley was 2. And I'm just gonna own this, y'all. I think the bird thing came from me.
My mother were alive, she'd argue with you.
Well, bring it. We kept playing this game every time I'd come over. They had this little puppet toucan, and I would just chomp their arms, so, you know. But Riley especially, Bryn, I remember you really liking that too. Just so many good memories with the family, and I was very honored to be a babysitter of all 4 of the kiddos. Andrew was a little older when I started, but still there for sure. It's pretty cool, the full circle here, because Tanta, Carla, ended up being the nanny for my children when I went back to work after I had my babies. And Riley ended up babysitting them, and Sophia and Annika was our family helper during COVID. And I remember babysitting for them when they were little, and Eric and Tanta would come home, and I wouldn't even notice. I'd be like rolling around on the floor, wrestling, sweating, and they would just, I think, watch me and laugh for a while, and I'd look up and be like, okay, time's up, good to go. But it just goes to show how this family makes somebody feel so loved. I had no qualms about just being myself around the Nilsens, and Riley especially was such a lover. I always remember and think of his smile. And when I had my own kids, I was a little nervous when my second one was coming around, because I wasn't sure how I would love another human so much as I did my first. And I went to Besta Mama for some guidance there, and she was the one that told me it's gonna be fine because there's always more heart room. And Riley definitely lived that. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Jeanette. Okay, you wanna come up here? I see you, Papa.
I have known Riley from the day he was born. Had many, many good memories. When he was 10 years old, as was custom in our family, we took our grandchildren for a week's trip at their choice. And Riley, of course, went to California, to a number of places. And he loved especially Walt Disney and especially SeaWorld. He loved to go in those boats that would go through and the water would pour over you. I have never been as wet in my life, I think. But he insisted on it, and we had a lot of good fun. The last few months, well, maybe a year, Riley spent most of his time sleeping on our couch. He was very conscious about the fact that he needed to have a mask because of my medical situation. And he was always there doing it. He was so conscious about that. And I really appreciate that. About 2 or 3 weeks before, I think it was, Riley and I were partners playing pinochle against Carla and Patricia. We beat them twice. And we had a lot of fun. So it was a lot of fun. But the thing about I remember too, during that trip to California, He must have told me at least 10 times, I love you, bestefar. I love you, bestefar. And he always loved me. And I love him too, and I love his memory. Thank you.
Anybody else? I see someone. Hi.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jake. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Riley from the ripe age of 10 years old and being a part of the best group of friends I've ever had through my adolescent age. You all know who you are. Riley was an absolute inspiration of emotional intelligence. There is no one that has taught me how to love so thoroughly and be so empathetic through every moment. I went through one of the most trying times of my life when we were our closest, losing my father to alcoholism. And they stood by my side at every single moment of it, truly teaching me how to grow from all the pain. There were so many good moments, though, from staying up all night playing Rock Band, trying to complete every single song in the game, 82 songs. We got through 79 of them. Because at the end, they get harder, and then you're playing Iron Maiden tracks at 4:30 in the morning, completely strung out on Monster energy drinks and gummy worms. But we certainly gave it our best. I only remember crying, laughing with that beautiful person, playing Dungeons & Dragons weekly with the same group of friends. They taught us how to play the most beautiful game. I even inherited the set of dice that they got to use when they would be our dungeon master. Everything about it was so good, just absolute pure enjoyment being around them. And I know in recent years we split and we faded away from our friendship, and of course, that happens, life happens, but all I know is that they were everything to me at the time that we were together. They brought us all closer. They were the emotional glue to the best group of friends I've ever had. And they will be with me absolutely forever.
Thank you, Jake. I see you, Melinda.
The mic's always too tall for me. So I'm Melinda Murdoch, and I just want to reiterate that the Nilsen family, one of the best families in the entire world. Yeah. So I'm the choir teacher at Jackson Middle School, and I've been fortunate to have all the kids except Bryn. That's okay. I'm not judging you, Bryn. It's totally fine. But Andrew was in my very first choir, my very first year. And from Andrew, and then down, and then to Sophia and Annika, they are so welcoming. And when Riley was in middle school, the same light that everybody's been talking about, and the friendships, and that group was so amazing. When we went to New York, they choose specific choirs that get to perform at the final concert, and we'd never been chosen, and that year, we were chosen to perform at that final concert. And the memories I have of that group and of Riley are going to be with me forever. I have a window that leads into my office where people give me pictures when they graduate or leave middle school. And my favorite picture Carla gave me is of 8th grade promotion when Riley just has his arm around me. And it's my favorite picture when I look at that wall. It does go back to love and the love that he had for people. And the respect he had for me, and it just, I'm so sorry, Nilsen family, and I feel for you, and I want you to know that, and I love you guys. I truly do. Thank you.
Thank you, Melinda.
Okay, so I am the drama teacher at Jackson Middle School, and I just want you all to know that Riley was not perfect. Because we were doing a musical once, I don't even remember what it was, but I think it was Once Upon a Mattress, and somehow his microphone was left on when he was off stage, and he did say the S word.
Stupid?
Yes, exactly. And he never lived that down, but he never lived it down with a smile. And it just like everybody else has been saying, it just hit that smile and that easy laugh is what I think we'll all remember.
Thank you so much. Got time for probably one more, and then we're going to move into another musical section. Please.
Hi, everyone. I don't think most of you know me. My name's Maggie Peach, and I went to Australia with Riley in 2009, and Riley was maybe this big and did just have this giant head. That's such a good point. It was such a big head. But I didn't know Eric prior to that. I didn't have the joy and luck of him being my professor because I was a math major for some reason. So I met the Nilsen family as part of that trip, and I met Riley as part of that trip. And I had never experienced the feeling of meeting someone and they immediately become your family. And I mean, I was 20 and incredibly stupid and immature, so it's not shocking I hadn't experienced that yet. But Riley became a younger sibling to me, which is something I'd never had before, and became a bit of a shadow to me and a fun example of you can tell a kid to do anything and they'll go do it. So I did use Riley for a lot of pranks on that trip. But apart from their big heart and their giant head and that twinkle in their eye that they would get when they knew a joke was coming and they knew that we were about to mess with someone, I will hold on to that feeling of instant family and the luck that I feel that I get to know Riley and I get to know the Nilsens. And because of our connection to Riley, I get to know all of you. So thank you, Riley, for this community you built and the love that you have spread among so many people.
Thank you very much. So I don't think I've ever heard Mateo referred to as Riley's, what was it, musical soulmate? I loved it, though. It totally resonated. Thank you, Jermaine, for that. So Mateo. Oh, Jay said it. I'm sorry. Where is Mateo? I'm coming. Oh, so, do you need a few minutes? No. Okay. 10 seconds.
Musical soulmate. Whoa, loud. Y'all made this seem like it was super quiet for some reason. Okay. Haha. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna teach a song, and you'll all be very happy to know that it is not rounds, so just one part. I think you guys will all do fine. So Bryn said something about how it's kind of hard to remember the especially people who knew Riley the last several months really well, like the good times. And I was lucky enough to get Riley's diaries, and I've been reading them, and there's some parts in here that are like, they're super hopeful, and I just wanted to keep that memory alive. So I just grabbed this one that I thought, whenever I read it, I can hear Riley's voice talking to me, so I just wanted to read it. And I'm gonna try to get through it all. I just got done talking to Mama and Papa, and I'm feeling a huge ball of excitement and hope and potential. And questioning, but I don't need to overthink it. Right now, I am happy / tired, overwhelmed, and who knows what it will be. Here, anytime in Portland, I'm going to allow myself to stop trying to control and predict my emotions, and I'm going to let myself vulnerably be what I am being right now, lovely tiredness. That was when Riley was living in Graceland, and they were deciding on whether or not to move home to Portland, and yeah, so that's just a really special memory. So this song, I'm gonna say the words, and then if y'all can repeat it back to me, and then I'll sing it once all the way through, and then we can sing it 5 or 6 times. So it goes like this. The words are, all I ask of you, is only to remember me, loving you. And so it just repeats that, and then there's a part after that, and I'll just sing it back if you want to do call and response. So it goes, all I ask of you is only to remember me, loving you. All I ask of you is only to remember me, loving you. All I ask of you is only to remember me, loving you. All I ask of you is only to remember me, loving you. And then this part goes, hey ya ha ha, hey ya ha ha. Hey ya ha ha, hey ya ha ha. Hey ya ha ha, hey ya ha ha. Okay, so my idea would be if you could stand up and you can maybe spin around and look at each other in the eyes while you sing this, so when we go home today, we can remember all the love that is here. And we'll sing it like 4 or 5 times. Or 100, I don't know. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All I ask of you is only to remember me, loving you. All I ask of you is only to remember me, loving you. Hey ya ha. Hey ya ha ha. Hey ya ha ha. Hey ya ha ha. Hey ya ha ha. All I ask of you is only to remember me, loving you. All I ask of you is only to remember me, loving you. Hey ya ha ha, hey ya ha ha. Hey ya ha ha, hey ya ha ha. Let's do it one more time. All I ask of you is only to remember me, loving you. All I ask of you is only to remember me, loving you. Hey ya ha ha, hey ya ha ha.
Hey ya ha ha, hey ya ha ha.
Thank you.
That was really beautiful. Thank you, Mateo. Okay, maybe another breath. Okay, so we're gonna go into kind of our last time of public sharing. So again, I just want to pause and just say how wonderful everything has been so far, and thank you all. This is amazing. I know there are probably more folks who want to share, so please feel free to head to one mic, and I will respectfully acknowledge you. I see you, Sophia.
Hey, oh, hello. My name is Sophia. I'm Riley's cousin, and I should have come up here with more to say. What I just want to share is that Riley was the youngest of the Nilsen crew, and I'm the oldest of my siblings. There's only 2 of us, but we were the closest, the bridge between the cousins, and we spent a lot of time together. We grew up together, went to reunions at this camp. We went to senior high camp together at Remote. We went to Spec and also went to high school together. They were a senior when I was a freshman, and so most days I would get a ride with them. We would listen to music. We would talk about life, random stuff. I mean, their physical death has made me think a lot about the fact that I've spent so much time with Riley and recently have not, because I've been away at college or moved away. I don't know. I definitely remember them being there for a lot of big moments in my life, which is it's interesting because they weren't my sibling, and my sister was there, but so was Riley, and so were all my other cousins. And so moving forward, it's going to be very strange to not have Riley there. But I'm on top of all of this. I think a few other people have expressed that it's really incredible, the community that Riley's love and light has brought together. So I'm very grateful for everyone who is able to be here. I know that we're all sharing in their wonderful, happy memory, and hope that we can hold each other in that same sort of love and light that they would love for all of us to hold and have with each other. So thank you.
Thank you, Sophia.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I knew Riley from Spec and from Graceland. I knew Riley under he, him pronouns, so I'm going to try to recount my memory of him in that space.
You don't have to.
With compassion, okay.
Don't put pressure on yourself.
I'm going to share 2 quick Riley memories. One is I was up in the middle of the night playing guitar out on a bench on campus, just feeling depressed and sad for myself. And all of a sudden, this second voice was singing with me. It was like some Jason Mraz song. And then Riley was sitting there with me on the bench at 3 a.m, and that was when we became friends. Another Riley memory is homecoming. We were doing a scavenger hunt, and our houses were paired together, and we had decided that we were going to do whatever we could to get the absolute most points. And one of those items was a couch. And no one else was interested in lifting a large piece of furniture with us, so it ended up being just us. But Riley said we were going to work smarter, not harder, and thought of using one of the laundry hampers on wheels. And so we tried wheeling it across campus. We lost that hamper. So I'm not sure where it ended up, but I just wanted to share 2 happy college Riley memories. So,
thank you so much. Harold.
My name is Harold Lastly, and I had the pleasure of being Ryan's pastor for a couple of years. I didn't know Ryan real well, but this event today, this remembrance of him, this celebration of him, has really just so much expanded my understanding of who he was and the little bit of light that he's shown in my life and in the life of my family. I can see how much it affected so many people. And this has just been wonderful. And I wish that my wife could be here, Lee, because she was his Sunday school teacher for several years. And she came home a couple of times recently and said, you know, I had an opportunity to speak to Ryan. She used to clean the Nilsen's home for them. And she would go out and speak to Ryan. And he always met her with a big hug, like he did everybody. And she said that they had some very deep conversations. And I think if she were here today, she would be amazed at what Ryan was conveying or trying to convey in his conversations with her. So I am so glad that I was able to be here today, that so many people have shared about Riley. And it's just given me a much bigger sense of the kind of person that he was, and that he will continue to be as he lives among us here. There was a line from a poem that just kept coming to me again and again as I listened to a lot of the experiences that Ryan had and what he was going through. And it goes something like this. It talks about how God is always with us. And the line is saying, goes, let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. And it sounds like that's exactly what Ryan went through. And went through with us. Some of it with some of us, but together, cumulatively with all of us. And it's a lesson for all of us to learn. So thank you.
Thank you, Harold. I see you.
Hi, my name is Nicholas. I know the Nelsons from church. I didn't know Riley that well, but I know what other people say about the Nelson family. They are the best family. They are so exuberant in their outspoken, their joy, the outward love that they show to people. It's so completely opposite from the family I grew up in. I grew up in a reserved family, so I always admired that about the Nelsons. So I had two memories of Riley that I wanted to share. One of them, during the time when there was a lot of white supremacists protesting in Portland, I could never get any of my friends to go protest with me and join the people that are counter-protesting. So I went to many of them, and then one of them I think was in August 2019. In the crowd of all these strangers, I saw Riley, and he saw me, and like he greets other people, it's this exuberant, big smile, very warm welcome, and then we hung out for the day, so I always appreciate that, out of, all these strangers who are just gathered there to show up and stand up to the white supremacists and Proud Boys, that Riley was there and shared that moment with me, so I will always carry that in my heart. And the other memory I have is that I work part-time at Motor Center. So if you go to the Blazer games, I'm on the 300 level, 309. So one game, I remember Riley came with some other people from church. He wore a blanket that was like a cape around him. So imagine in a Blazer basketball game, 16,000 fans, and Riley's walking around the stadium with this cape. And I remember admiring him like, that guy has style. And brave, like everyone else wears like the Blazer jerseys. And there was Riley with the cape on. And those are the two memories I will always have of Riley.
Thanks, Nicholas.
Hi, I'm Terry, and I'm probably going to cry. But Riley, I'm a mom of one of 8 guys that hung out, and they hung out at our house and all us ladies' houses. And as a mom, I'm so grateful to have my son be a part of such a great group of guys. And you would hope that they would want to hang out at your house. And I'd hear they always wanted to hang out at the Nilsen's house. And I frequently heard about wishing our family was as cool. And by the way, they leave their front door open so anybody can walk in at any time and feel like family. And why do we lock our door? I just want to thank the Nilsens. Also, we moms got together weekly or bi-weekly to pray for our children. And it was a joy. And I knew him as he prayed for many years. And then by praying for this circle of friends, we were praying for the siblings, all of you. Makes me feel like I know them. I do know the Nilsen family, especially the parents, but I just want to thank you, Riley, for just being a fabulous connecting person and giving my son the best of friends that will be forever connected, possibly more now because of this shared sorrow and joy.
Thank you so much. I see you.
It's a decent height. Hello, everyone. I'm Tristan. I had to follow Terry. I wasn't going to go, but such an incredible group of friends I had the pleasure of being a part of in high school, and that's where I met Riley. Shortly after that, I met Eric and Carla, and by ones and twos, I met the rest of the Nilsen family. And I distinctly remember going home and telling my mom, like, wow, what an incredible family this is. They are so beautiful and loving, and that showed in everything that Riley did. And Riley taught us so much as a friend group, and there's a lot of us from Wilson here today, and I think I can safely speak for all of us when I say that we would not be the same people that we are today without Riley. And as cheesy as it is, I think in that way, Riley is here today and will live on through all of us, and for that I'm so incredibly grateful. So thank you, Nilsens, for being such an incredible family and extending that love through Riley to me and each and every one of us.
Thanks, Tristan.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Sophie, and I met Riley at Lewis and Clark.
You were the butterfly, right?
Yes, I was the butterfly. Yeah, we actually met on a new student trip, and I didn't actually know that they were also a transfer student until we ended up in the same orientation group. And we're like, hey! And we kind of hit it off from there, and I owe so much to Riley. I didn't know anyone in Portland when I got here. And they immediately took me in. And so many of the people that I now hold so dear to me, including my partner and some of my best friends, were all part of Riley's community. Over time, they introduced me to each person and just kind of like brought me into the fold, and it truly meant so much. I don't know if I'd still be living in Portland if I hadn't met them, honestly. And they were just such a special person. They were so conscious of my boundaries, so conscious of where I was at in my mental health journey at that point, and knowing that I was struggling. And it meant so much to me that they continuously checked in with me. They stayed with me when I would fall asleep in public spaces. And I would wake up and they'd still be there, or they would bring me to my room. And they did know that I struggled a lot with my family. And so they were always inviting me over to the Nilsens. And I just really want to say thank you to Carla and Eric for taking me in and allowing me to bring my dog there. And I was looking back on texts this past week, just wanting to feel close with Riley. And I realized how little of our relationship happened online. Looking through the text, it's all check-ins about whether or not something we did hurt the other person and wanting to make sure that we're okay. Or, are you free tonight? Are you free tomorrow? Do you want to study? You want to come over to my house? Do you want to come over to my room? And it was just really cool that so much of our friendship happened in person, in deep, deep connection. And so much of our text was just planning for more time of deep connection. They saw me fully, and I saw them, and I will forever be grateful to know them. So thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
I'm Allison. I didn't get a chance to know Riley personally very well, but I have had the honor of knowing the Nilsens for many years at camps, and I want to thank you for that. I received a message this morning, and I was asked to share that. But first, I want to just a little backstory. Unfortunately, over the years, I've experienced multiple losses in my life, and for multiple reasons and similar reasons. And it gets a little bit easier, but there's still that hurt. And I feel this need to share of self-reflection of what is it that we can do within our lives to be able to keep Riley's spirit and his glow and his shine to keep going and to live on, is what can we do to make that keep living on? And each of us have our own versions of what that is. And when we have that moment of when things calm down a little bit, when we get back to our routines and our lives, and time goes on, and you need that moment of reflection or that moment of remembrance or your whatever emotion that's going through you, this is the message that was given to me. And I didn't know what this meant this morning, but I was told to just look in the sky. And I was like, well, that's pretty vague. It said, they'll know what that means. So my message to you is when you need that moment of whatever it is, and you'll know what it is, just look in the sky and you'll know.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. Oh, hi. It's loud. I am nervous and sad, and I don't know what I'm going to say yet. But I just wanted to. I'm Ellie, by the way. And I was lucky enough to know Riley and the family for a very long time, and sing with Riley and sing with some of the rest of the family too. And I just can't stop thinking about them every day for, a month and a half or so. And their smile and their love and their curiosity. And in high school and a little bit after high school, I was the director of the a cappella group, and Riley was in that. And the other thing I can't stop thinking about is the song that they auditioned for the group with, and just, you know, their beautiful voice and their singing of it and the words of the song. And I wasn't gonna sing because I was just thinking it was cheesy, but then I just thought how much Riley would love it, and I feel them here today. And I would love some help with it if I cry, or just like for everybody to be singing is nice. So this is you know it. This is the song they auditioned with. And I'm nervous and I might cry, and we're gonna find out.
And it's all okay.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Let's just that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thanks. That's Maggie.
Hello, I'm Maggie. That's my sibling. We had a big family house where kind of similar. I don't think I've ever been to your guys' house, but like kind of that community of like, oh, that's the Nilsens, and like, oh, they called my mom Roy and stuff like that. But I'm gonna hold this because I'm having trouble. So sorry. I got to be in a lot of singing groups with Riley, and I've always put a lot of importance on my voice, and like that being my like value as a person, and being in Singing in the Rain, the a cappella group that we had rehearsals at my house. I would always look forward to Riley coming in, and we'd sit on the couch, and there's like the chairs, the people in the front, and then there's the couch, and you wanted to sit on the couch because that was where we're all cool, but like that's where the cool kids at. And me and Riley had a song that we sang together at one of our competitions. And in our rehearsals, my voice would crack a lot. And it was kind of messed up because like the song that I was singing was Pretty Hurts by Beyonce, and they were singing This Is Gospel by Panic at the Disco. It was like a mashup, and my voice would crack a lot, and I think that there were times that they made their voice crack a lot to make me feel better. And they're just a really good person. And thank you guys for raising a really good person. That's all.
Thanks, Maggie.
I'm just gonna fall down. Okay.
So we've been together quite some time. I'm not cutting things off entirely, but I just wanted to point out that obviously there are lots of different ways to process, right, and to celebrate and honor Riley. And hopefully you've seen in your program that there's a photo album, there's some written memories form, written memories to read, and there's also a photo album page, right? Not a book, but a page. Am I right, Carla? Yeah, back there. And so if folks can sign that, we would really appreciate that as well. We're going to have some snacks. Actually, I was supposed to tell you this in the closing, and I'm not trying to do the closing, but I just want to make it okay that if you do want to share, let's share, and if you don't, that's okay too. But we do want to kind of move on to other things fairly soon. So please, if you've been just sitting on your seat not wanting to get up, get up. Okay.
Whew. Yeah, I've been on my seat. I've been not certain if I can share, if I want to share. But I'm Andrew. I'm the oldest Nilsen sibling. So knew Ryan, Riley, their whole life. And it's been so hard in preparing and in thinking about today, thinking about how or what to share, to get my mind and my body and my being out of the last 3 years of really scary, confusing times of knowing how to love my baby brother, my baby sibling. And so this is exactly what I've been needing, is to hear and to see the love that all of you have, to bring back those memories, to add to the complete picture of Riley and their life and the love that they've brought. One of the things that I've heard a lot and really resonate with deeply is the light and the love that my family has. And it's wonderful to see reflected. Along with light comes dark. And I know that that's also an experience that a lot of us have, is experiencing darkness and experiencing difficult times. And that's certainly true for me. In around the pregnancy of our daughter, I was stuck in a time of deep anxiety and depression. And what a memory that came back to me today on the way up here was one of the first people that I told about the deepest, darkest, and the shame that I had around my coping and my actions was Riley. And the way that they received me with just love and acceptance in my time of shame was incredibly powerful. And they had that ability to create that safety to be able to be our whole selves, the light and the dark with them, that I felt like we could talk about anything, which makes the last 3 years so difficult, because I felt an incredible amount of silence. Silence within myself, trying to know how to connect with them, not having the words, being afraid of what to speak, seeing them not have the words to explain their experience at times. And I feel like I was growing and trying to find a way to get past that silence. And it feels especially tragic to know that, unfortunately, that silence continues between me and Riley here, physically speaking. However, I've also known recently just how much love can be shown without words, through being able to love on another being who added so much to my life, and that's my dog, Canella, who's right up here in the center with Riley. And she had an incredible, Riley and Canella had an incredible combination and connection together. And she, unfortunately, we had to put her down 2 weeks ago. So I am touched by that knowledge that connection and love transcends words and what we're able to share, and that the love that I have for Riley continues on, and that Riley and Canella are able to love each other in the beyond. So thank you for your time and your sharing here today. It really makes a difference for me and for our family.
So now we are going to formally pull ourselves together. I'm sorry. Oh. Now I will talk into the microphone. We have, again, it's been mentioned several times about Riley's spirituality and their way of wanting to connect with so many different things. And Riley has had many people in his life that are Jewish, and we're very fortunate to have 3 folks today. We're going to have Kaima, Elsie, and Avery share with us a tradition in the Jewish faith called the Kaddish.
We're going to share an English interpretation to set the tone because the Kaddish is in Hebrew, a foreign language. If you would like to follow along in the Hebrew, when we get to that part, there are these little half sheets in the back that some of you might have grabbed that I do need to return back to my temple after this. So you can put them back where you found them when you're done.
A season for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time for being born and a time for dying, a time for planting and a time for uprooting the planted, a time for slaying and a time for healing, a time for tearing down and a time for building up, a time for weeping and a time for laughing, a time for wailing and a time for dancing, a time for throwing stones and a time for gathering stones, a time for embracing and a time for shunning embraces, a time for seeking and a time for losing, a time for keeping and a time for discarding, a time for ripping and a time for sewing, a time for silence and a time for speaking, a time for loving and a time for hating, a time for war and a time for peace. Ecclesiastes 3:1-8.
In a garden, I once heard a song or an ancient blessing, and above the dark trees, a window is always lit in memory of the face that looked out of it, and that face too was in memory of another lit window.
You can join us if you want, or you can just say Amen, or nothing.
Yikadal v'kadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divra kirute v'amlim halhute, ve'hayhon v'yomehon uv'hayed dehopet Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shemede Kusha, Brihu, Le'ela, Minkol, Birhata, Veshirata, Tushbehata, Vinehemata, Damiram, Bilma, Viru, Amen. Yehesh Lama, Rabba, Min Shamaya, V'haim Aleinu, Ve'al Yisrael, Viru, Amen. Ose Shalom, Imrumav, Hulia Ase Shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel, v'imru Amen.
At this hour, especially, the blessed presence of family and friends brings comfort and strength to the mourners. It reassures those mourning that love, the spring of life, abides. May all who mourn take heart as they remember the goodness they have given and received. And when these days of their mourning are ended, may the memory of their loved ones come to be a blessing.
forgot to mention, there is going to be a campfire. There's going to be a fire if you want to go sit around it. There's also a labyrinth. I'm not sure which direction, also that way. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful day. Really welcome you. And really, on behalf of our family, thank you so much for the gift of your presence and your love and your generosity. And now we will end the service with our sacred song.
And this isn't planned, but I'd just like to say we're hoping that people can just gather around and enjoy each other's company informally afterwards. And I'm going to be leading a frolic just past the volleyball court soon after the service. If anybody wants to frolic.
May the long time sun shine on you, all house surround you, and the clear light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine on you, and the clear light guide your way on. May the long time sun shine on you, all love surround you, and the clear light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine on you, and the clear light guide your way on. May the long time sun shine on you, all light surround you, and the clear light within you guide your way on. Amen. Lots of food, frolicking, volleyball. Thank you all.
There's also a waterfall that way.
Yep.